Hi guys. So now we're gonna read books. They read a book. It's called Double Down. So have you ever do something and then you double it down? Well, I bet you do. And I do too. Sometimes you'll feel like you double it down. Yeah. Well, that means you're going up and up and up and up. I'm going to draw charts. Here we go. Wait for me. Okay. So there we go. Here. I'm getting a chart and I'm drawing a chart. Here. I'm drawing a chart. You're going up. You see it clearly? I bet you do. So if you don't, I'm gonna erase it all, and then I'm gonna draw you another one so that it can be clearly, so you can see it more clearly, right? Okay, I'm gonna run to look at this dash. Like you're going up like this, but then you double it down. You just down a little bit right here. I'm gonna erase it. Here, like you going up like here and going some more up right there, this one. But then you double down, you down. Oh, you put it down, and then you coming down, you down, and then also you made an accident by double it down, double one more down, and then you just have a little chart like this. Okay, so now with double down, you're going up. Oh, I forget. Here you're going up, but you double it down, and you make it a half. I'm gonna draw a half. Okay. So that meant you double it. Like you double it down. Okay, Mommy's gonna draw it with my pencil. Go. Here, we're going up, but you double it down. Oh, can you see clearly? If you can't, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna use this pen. You're going up, but then you double it down. Like make it in a half, and just a little one, like that. So that meant, yeah, here I'm gone. Here, it's short like this, but you double down. You double some more, and more. Then one day you don't have any nothing. So, is that clear? So, is that clear? I bet it was clear, really clear. So, it was really clear. Okay, so let's come back to our lesson and learn about double down every book. Oh, you love a small book? I really love a small book because it's about to be more smart. Yeah, I love it. Okay, let's get started. On Halloween, it took a long time to get to Marina's house tonight because the street was full of little kids trick-or-treating. I was glad we were a little late because if I showed up right on time, we looked like we were too eager. When we finally got to Marina, I told Mom thanks for the ride and not to come back for us until the party ended at 11 o'clock. But Mom turned off the engine and got out of the minivan and pulled up some bag of back. When I asked her she was doing what she was doing. She said she was coming in to introduce herself to Mr. and Mrs. Menzona. I begged Mom not to, but when she decided to do something, there's really no stopping her. She rang the doorbell, but nobody answered. We could hear loud music coming from the basement, so Mom opened the door, and we all stepped inside. Mr. and Mrs. Monaza were on the couch watching a horror movie, and they didn't seem interested in getting up and chatting with Mom. Mom asked if she could go downstairs and check out the party, and they seemed totally fine with it. Now I was really nervous. Mom opened the door at the basement and headed on down, and all me and Rolly could really do was follow. There was a lot of kids there already, and they looked like they were having a blast. But then everyone saw Mom. They stopped what they were doing. Mom pulled a bunch of homemade Halloween games out of her bag, and I got sick feeling in my stomach. I should know that Mom was up to when I saw a reading on the October edition of Family Trolloc magazine last night. Family Trolloc, spooky fun, haunted, homemade, more party games. When Mom pulled out of her party games, I figured everyone would just ignore her and go back to having fun. But then something crazy happened. A bunch of girls started helping Mom set up her stuff. From that point on, Mom was running the show. She invited everyone to the party to play these corny Halloween games. I thought I might actually die of embarrassed, but everybody got into it and seemed to be having a great time. I think the person who having the most fun it was Rolly. His favorite game was one where you can eat a donut on a string, and he set the record with 5 and 30 seconds. Once I realized everyone was having a good time, I relaxed a little. I even played a few games myself. Me and Rolly took a first prize and pinned the boot on the ghost. And I gotta admit, we made a pretty good team. A little to the left. In fact, we won a lot of Mom's game. The only one we stuck was a mini pumpkin toss. But I guess you can't be good at everything. After the games were over, everybody turned the music louder and the party cranked up a notch. It was a little hard to pull up my best move while I attached to Rolly, but I still had some pretty good stuff. I gotta say, it was awesome. The only kid who weren't having fun was some handful of guys who were there. But I wasn't gonna let 4 sour grapes ruin my good time. Right when the party was about to hit the next level, Rolly and me, he needed to use the bathroom. But when we made the costume, we didn't plan for that sort of thing. There wasn't a zipper or anything like that, so the only way to get out of the costume was cut it off. Neither one of us wearing pants underneath, so that wasn't happening. I was pretty annoyed because earlier in the evening I told Rolly to slow down on the fruit punch, and of course he hadn't listened. I decided he was just gonna have to wait until we got home to deal with it, so I tried to go back on having fun. But Rolly made it kind of impossible for me to enjoy myself. Whimper, whimper. I think Mom figured out what was going on, the look on Rolly's face, and she said it was time for us to wrap things up and head home. Now it's really mad. The party was in full swing, and we had to leave because Rolly needed a potty break. But Mom said it's better to leave a party when it's going strong, and then it was fizzling it out. She said it made you look cool because everybody will think you have better things to do. I don't know what's better than hanging out with Marina Medezzo, but Mom was practically pushing me up in the stair. But when we drove away, I was pretty miserable. But Mom was as happy as I've ever seen her. Bye, Mrs. Healthy. Honk, honk. On November there on Thursday. All this week, Miranda and her friends have been saying how great the party was and how much fun my mom was. I don't know how to feel about that exactly, but I guess take it as a compliment. I've kind of lost interest of being in a band, though, and I just because the party in the mural. Once we got back to school on Monday, the guys in the wind section started giving me a hard time. Mama's boys. So it's just not like a big guys either. Even Jake McGonagall gotten in the act. Tweet! When I told Mom and Dad, I was thinking of quitting the band. And Dad said that was an opinion. He said my instrument cost a lot of money and that I had a horn on my commitment. He said I could just quit something, but because it's hard, and if there's anything he can't teach me, it's reserve maintenance. I could tell Dad was gonna let it go, so I promised him I'll keep trying. He seemed pretty happy with that, and I thought I was ready to hook. And then he told me he's gonna come to the fall concert to cheer me on. I told him the concert is during a school day, so he won't be able to come, but he said it's important to him, so he's gonna take off work. Now the pressure really on. I've been trying to learn to play this thing ever since, but trust me, it's not easy. Ask Rolly to come over and help me tonight, because I figure he's been in the band for a while and know a thing or two about instruments. But every time the two of us are in the room together, we end up getting distracted. Dad was pretty mad because he said all me and Rolly do when together is go around. So he sent Rolly home and told me to get back to work. But even that girl's video gave up trying to learn the French horn, so I guess I'm really on my own. On Wednesday. Today was the day of Big Fall concert. I never teach Nellie to learn how to play my instrument, but I did figure out how to play to get by. I sit right next to Evan Pittman in a band practice, and he can play the French horn just fine. I realized if I just piggy bank on him and pretend I was playing, he could do the work for both of us. So that's what I've been doing for the past 2 weeks. And if Mrs. Gazino didn't notice from 10 feet away, I knew Dad wouldn't notice from across the room. Tweet, talk, river. But 10 minutes before showtime, Evan was nowhere to be found. I asked his best friend Marcus Burris where Evan was, and Marcus said Evan his brace off today and he was going to miss the concert. I couldn't believe Evan would hang me out to dry like that. I thought the brass section is supposed to have each other backs. When it came to find the band to warm up, I started to sweat. I was praying Dad forgot all about the fall concert, but then he was at a stage door. Rap. After the audience took their seat, it was time to go on the stage. Mrs. Gazino led us out in a single filled with a brass section going next to last. But woodwind were right behind us, and that idiot Jake McGoff stepped on the back of my shoe and gave me a flat tire step. I had to put my horn down to fix my shoe, and when I did, the last kid in the wood would shut the door when the stage door and let it shut behind him. So I tried to open the door, but it was locked. So I pounded the window, but everyone touring the instrument couldn't hear me. The concert was about to start, and all I could think about was Dad looking at my empty chair, so I knocked harder. Luckily, Rolly saw me at the window, got up from his chair, and opened the door. But when he stepped inside the room and let the door shut behind him, now we were both stuck. I knocked on the window again, but right there at the moment, Mrs. Gazin struck up the band, and everyone started playing. Now it was hopeless because there was no way anyone was gonna hear me with George Devaney pounding away on his necklaces with a clarinet section pipe in. Raleigh went into a panic. He started playing along with the rest of the band, which is definitely not helping matter. It was pretty clear it was gonna be up to get us out of there, so I tried to pry the door open by putting my foot on the wall and pulling on my handle with all my strength. But I guess my pants couldn't take the stress. I looked in the mirror on the back wall to check the damage, and there's 5-inch tear down in the middle of the pants. That was really bad news because you could see my underwear. I realized that even if we managed to get the door back open, I couldn't go out of there with this giant hole in my pants. So I looked around the room to see if there was anything I could use to cover up. I found a black binder on Mrs. Gastineau's desk, and I slipped it down to the back of my pants. So binder covered up the hole pretty well, and from the distance, no one would be able to notice, but it was so stiff I couldn't actually sit down. So I had to take it out and come up with a different idea. Then I thought of a solution. I grabbed a black marker off Mrs. Gastineau's desk, and I told Raleigh to color part of my underwear that was showing. That way, no one would even know my pants were. Unfortunately, that's right when Dad came through the door. I don't know what it looked like to him, but I have a feeling it didn't look good. So on Thursday, no matter how many times I explained to Dad what happened on the fall concert, he didn't want to hear it. He said me and Raleigh were goofing off when we shouldn't have been preparing for him from the band, and that's all he needed to know. My punishment is 2 weeks with no television or video game, and I'm not allowed to have friends over after school. The only thing I can do is practice my French horn, which I guess is the point. But practicing that thing stressed me out. It stressed me hungry. I usually have a whole pillowcase full of candy at this time of year, but since I skipped trick-or-treating to go to that party, I missed out on the best part of the Halloween. I knew there had to be leftover candy somewhere in the house, because the Halloween night, Dad told Mom the geese chased all the trick-or-treater away. Honk. So after school today, I looked in a place I thought Mom might start a candy, but I came up empty. Now I was really carving something sweet, but the only thing in the pantry was a bag of chocolate chips. Mom told us were off limits. Chocolate chips. I think she planned on making chocolate chips cookies for the church bake fair, but I figured she never noticed if just one chip went missing. So I get some scissors and cut tiny chocolate chip size hole in the bottom on the back. Well, one of the chocolate chips turned into 2, and 2 turned into 4, and then I kind of just lost my mind. When I was done, I must have eaten at least a quarter of the pack. I thought there was still a chance Mom would notice, but the hole in the back had gotten a lot bigger, and I needed to do something about that. So I went through the junk drawer to look for stapler. But before I could use it, the bottom of the back trolley gave out. Clack, 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 click, 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 clack. I stapled the back shut and covered as many chips as I could of the floor, but I kind of couldn't help myself, and a lot of never made it to the back. No way Mom wasn't gonna notice. It was any trouble. I really didn't know to add my problem, so I called Raleigh for help. I told him my situation, and now how he needed to bring me as many chocolate chips as he could. Raleigh showed up at the front door for 5 minutes later, and he was all out of breath. He said he wouldn't got it to my house sooner, but the geese were out of their street, and he had to cut through the neighbor backyard to steer clear of them. asked Rolly for the chocolate chips, and he opened his hand, but they were useless because they were completely melted. I told Rolly he was gonna have to go back and get more, but he said that's all they had. He said maybe he could call up Scooty Douglas, and he said maybe he could call Scooty Douglas down the street to see if he had any chocolate chips, and they sound like a pretty good plan to me. But when Rolly picked up the phone, I noticed he was leaving chocolatey fingerprints everywhere. I knew if Dad found out one of Rolly's fingerprints in the kitchen, I was dead. So we got some paper towel and started wiping the whole kitchen. Wipe, scrub. When we ran out of paper towel, I went into the laundry room to get some more. But when I made a huge discovery. There were of live unbuttered bags in there, and it was all stuff like that. Gummy worms. I figure I'll give Rolly a few packet of gummy worms for helping me out of the cleanup, but I can't resist taking Operainian to play a little prank on him first. Hey, is there something in my nose? Scream! I thought Rolly would laugh, but he was terrified. Even after I showed him the worm was just a piece of candy, he still couldn't get over it. Slurp, slurp, shudder, shudder. Then, when the light bulb went on over my head, people love to be scared, and if you're good at it, you can make a fortune. It can't be day hard. I'm Spooky, the filthy rich, and that guy doesn't even exist. I heard about those college kids who made a horror movie, and they only spent a couple of $100 filming it, and they sold the movie into a big studio, and now those guys are millionaires. Flash, 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 click, clack. If those guys could do it, so could I. I didn't need hundreds of dollars either. All I needed was a couple bags of gummy worms and Mom and Dad old camera. I could already see the movie plaster in my mind, but when my movie wins Best Picture, I'll be sure to thank the little people who helped me along the way. The person who deserves the biggest thanks is Mom. She's the one who always saying I should use my imagination and do something creative. So when I'm famous direction, I'll bet she'll be proud. Before I could happen, though, we needed to get started making this movie. I don't really my idea to make a film that man eating worms touring town, but that seemed to make him nervous. He said maybe we could switch out of worm for some less scary, like butterfly. That tickles. But I told him nobody was gonna pay good money to see a movie like that. I said we could just have some funny parts, so it wasn't just scary, and he seemed to warm up to that idea. Rolly wanted to get started filming right then and there, but I told him we weren't doing anything without a script, so we went upstairs, turned into a computer, and got to work. Night of a Night Crawler, written by Greg Helfey, based on the concept of Greg Helfey. Rolly said he wanted to write too, but I really didn't want to share credit on this thing since it was my idea. So I told him he could do the storyboard, which are little drawers, but show how each camera shot is supposed to look. I figured a good way to start a movie would be to show a married couple having an ordinary day before the worms started attacking. Evening, a man come home from work in a good mood, whistling a cherry tune. He opened the side door and stepped inside the kitchen. But I ran into the problem right away. I was planning on direction, and Rolly was the only actor. That meant we couldn't really show two characters on the screen at the same time. The other problem was that I didn't want it to be two babies that Rolly was playing all the part, or people might think our film was low budget, so I had to get a little creative. Husband, hi dear, I am home from work. Wife, hello honey. I hope you don't mind if I don't turn around, but I am really concentrated on doing these dishes. Husband, that's okay. I'm gonna go upstairs and take a shower. Wife, good. I can smell you from here. Laughs. I felt like there was already a little too much talking, so it was time to get after action. Upstairs bathroom, the man stepped inside the shower and turned the water on. Husband, oh man, this show is gonna feel great. And my wife is right about my stinking. But then worms shoot out of the shower head. Husband was, what the heck? This isn't water, it's worm. But these are no original worms. They are man-eating nightcrawler. Her husband, oh great, these things are actually eating me. Worms come out of the man's eyes and nose. When Raleigh finished that last drawing, he was white as a ghost. But remind me, the worm was just candy, and that's calmed him down. Trouble. Back to the kitchen, the man ran into the room with a towel around his waist. Husband, honey, don't use the water. But it's too late. The woman it's a skeleton. Now I really started to lose Raleigh. I had to remind him this is all make-believe. And we had a plastic skeleton. That's we were gonna use the sense. But he was practically I realized maybe this was a good place to add some comedy. So I put a line to Glollies, and that brought Raleigh back. Husband, well I guess this means I'm single. Wink. After that, I was taking care of it. It was a big to the action, and the next scene was a big one. The man looked outside. The house is totally surrounded night crawlers. Husband, oh no, I'm surrounded. I'll better call the cops. The man put the phone on his ear and dialed 911. Husband, hello, is this a police? I am calling to report. Wait, what's the? A worm crawled from the phone into the man's ear and out of the other one. Husband, Ailey dies. After I finished writing that sentence, I realized it was taking too much time. Plus, there were some sense that was correct. I hadn't figured out how to shoot yet, like the battle between the mayor and the 500-foot king nightcrawler at the end of the movies. Since we weren't gonna get this whole thing done in one day, I decided we might as well get started to shoot the scenes. We just wrote. I found my parent camera in Mom's closet, and luckily there was a film cartridge in the camera bag. We also borrowed some clothes from that closet from Raleigh just for his costume, and even though the pants were a little long, they are more or less fit. We shot the opening scenes, which took about 3 times longer than it should because Raleigh had trouble remembering his line. Hi dear, I'm home for breakfast. To take a shower. Have you seen any worms? Dang it. After that, it was time to film Raleigh as the guy's wife. Raleigh was a comfortable lady wearing one of Mom's dresses, so we split some yoga panties. But we didn't have a wig, so Raleigh wore hotties to cover his head. Scrub. After we wrapped things up in the kitchen, we went upstairs and filmed the bathroom scenes. Raleigh didn't want to get his hair wet, so he took a shower cap we found underneath Mom's sink. I found that bathing suit in one of his dresser drawer, and Raleigh put that on and got in the shower. It turned out the shower scenes a lot harder to film than I expected. So I had to shoot Raleigh from the waist up, so you can see that he was wearing a bathing suit. Plus, I hadn't really thought they were though they're soupless, I hadn't really thought they knew how to make it look like worms were coming out of their shower head, and nothing I did look right. Eventually, I settled throwing worms on Rolly's face. Hopefully, it looked like pleasurably when all to edit together. So I can find where Mom kept her food coloring. So we had to settle from some ketchup for the blood. It was too thick, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world either. After we wrapped things up in the bathroom, it was time to go back down to the kitchen. We shoot the skeleton scenes pretty quick, and the Hootie added some extra to it. At this point, it was totally a little late, and I was worried we were gonna finish shooting our scenes before my parents got home. So we hurried outside and got to work spreading the gummy worms out of the yard. But I wasn't self-rated to this sense. Coming out there wasn't enough worms to come and look scary. I decided we were gonna have to dip into the other bag of gummy worms to take off the scent's work. But then I opened the door to the laundry. I got a nasty surprise. It was trying to figure out what to do with the pig when I heard Rolly screaming in the kitchen. So I ran to what it was wrong. A bunch of geese were going to town and our gummy worms. So I opened the door and tried to scare them off, but they wouldn't budge. Honk, honk. Once the geese finished of the gummy worms, they wanted more. I closed the door and me and Rolly hid under the kitchen table and tried to figure out how the next move. I told Rolly the only thing geese are scared of our other animal, but before I could say other words, Rolly was at the window with a Maisie and talk. Pull, 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 dog, dog, dog. Now the geese were pecking out the window, and I was scared that if it did something, they might actually break in. That's when I remembered the last time Bart went trick-or-treating. He wore an awful wolf mask, which was settled down in the basement. I figured if anything was going to scare them geese off, was that me and Rolly ran down to the refrigerator room and find a mask. The old Halloween costume was in a box, a fourth shelf, so it was a two-man job to get it down. I got up on Rolly's shoulder and reached into the box, but when I did, I knocked a snowball shell. And when that happened, the witch went off. Cackle, 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 cackle. I grabbed the shelf and the whole structures units come crashing down. When the dust settled, we were both lucky to be alive. Once Rolly got free, he shot out of the basement so fast. I think he might actually take the stairs 4 at a time at once. And once he got out of the house, Rolly didn't stop. He climbed halfway up the big tree on the side of the house, and that's where I found him, bellowing nonsense. I tried to take him coming down, but he wouldn't budge. So I got a tennis racket and some balls to try to knock him down, but they only make him climb higher. Unfortunately for me, that's the moment Dad came home. I had to explain to Dad that we were just making a movie and things got out of hand, but I was like taking a walk. I thought Mom would be a little more understanding, but it turned out the tape and screen was made for Manny taking his first step, and we record right over it. So splat. So I'm stuck cleaning up this mess for furnace room, and meanwhile, Relius is drinking in his new fountain of campaign. A new crow came out of the court at the moment, and when the fire department got him down from the tree, and the footsteps of the dramatic rescue spread real crazy. Dog really hasn't even been back to school because every morning talk show wanted a piece of him. What's really annoying is that even all this interview really wasn't mentioned my name once, even though I'm the one who made him famous. But these days he pretty act like the world fell around him. I guess that was fame down to a person. All I can say, if you never see me making a fool out of myself, just get a cheap laugh from the people watching at home. Dog. So that's all of my book.